Hey everyone, the recent edition of 2v8 is probably one of the most requested and best game modes behavior has ever implemented into Dead by Daylight, but it isn't the first time the main game mode has been altered from the traditional 1v4 we know so well. There have been many game events over the years, everything from mini events like Blood Hunt to seasonal alterations like the Halloween or anniversary events, all the way to the most recent edition of game modes. This is a complete history of the events in Dead by Daylight. Joining me today is creator Milkdoor. Be sure to go check out Milkdoor's channel. He recently released an episode of his podcast where we discussed mental health. Let's get into it. Upon the game's release on June 14th, 2016, the game was in a much different state than it is now. Broken perks, infinite chase loops, and a ton of other migraines for killers and survivors alike. Although we did get what could be argued as the most important chapter in Dead by Daylight's history, Halloween, which brought in Michael Myers. This first year only had one event, which was a Blood Hunt, released in December of that year, a double Blood Point event, and a humble beginning for what was to come.
2017 saw a vast improvement in terms of events and game modifications for players to enjoy. First up, we got the Chinese New Year, which included 4 new cosmetics for Dwight, Meg, Claudette, and Jake, as well as a brand new item, the Firecracker. Several months later, we got the 1-year anniversary event. By today's standards, this event was very sparse, but included some very notable changes and laid the groundwork for future anniversary events. The 1-year anniversary saw the addition of new offerings, specifically the Escape Cake, Survivor Pudding, and Bloody Party streamers. Then we also got daily community challenges that had prompted rewards for each role. It varied from day to day and included such things as breaking pallets or starting chases as killer. For survivors, it was things like pulling down pallets or escaping the trial. All community challenges were met, which rewarded the players with a 5th map for the Macmillan Realm, Groaning Storehouse. In addition, a blood hunt was ongoing for the entire event. In October of that year, we were treated to the first Halloween event, All Hallows Eve. This was the first event to add in-game UI changes such as theme music, the candles, pumpkins, and other props players are more familiar with today. We were also given event-themed items, the Will-O-Wisp flashlight and the All Hallows Eve medkit. This was the year that we also received the Sally of the Lantern cosmetic for Nurse. Then in December, we got the first proper Christmas event with the 2017 Winter Solstice. In addition to similar UI and prop changes we saw in the All Hallows Eve event, the Winter Solstice also introduced cosmetic changes to hooks and lockers. Speaking of cosmetics, this was the event that saw the release of the Frosty Eyes cosmetic for Trapper, Wraith, Billy, Nurse, Hag, Doctor, and Huntress. In addition, we also saw new variants of the Firecracker specifically for the winter event. This time around, it had a blue explosion.
In February of 2018, we got another event associated with the Chinese New Year, this time called Howling Grounds, which came with several upgrades from the year prior. As before, there were cosmetics associated with the event, but this time around we also got in-game cosmetic changes to the hooks and generators. We also received our first event-based offering, the Red Envelope. This would give survivors and killers a burnt or golden coin upon completing gens or hooking survivors, and also granted bonus blood points. We further saw the birth of increased score events for completing lunar generators and tossing survivors on lunar hooks. When June 2018 rolled around, fans were met with a different type of anniversary event. This year there were no community challenges, but instead an Oryx Cell raffle for 2,250 Oryx Cells, which was used as a marketing tool to get players to use the newly launched Dead by Daylight forums, as the winner was selected directly from these forums. There was also an escape tournament with a $15,000 prize, as well as a giveaway where 5 lucky winners would receive a handcrafted Huntress mask. In addition, a blood hunt ran for the entirety of the event. For the summer of 2018, we saw the rollout of a brand new event, Scorching Summer Barbecue, which ran from the 7th of August until the 23rd of the same month. We use the term brand new loosely, as it actually ended up being a reskinned version of the Howling Ground events, with barbecue invitations instead of red envelopes, grill hooks and frozen cocktail machine generators in place of their lunar counterparts. However, we did get barbecue-themed cosmetics for Billy and Kate Denson. The Hallowed Blight event was 2018's Halloween event, and also the first Halloween event to introduce the Blighted theme and outfits. There was a Halloween offering similar to this year's Lunar New Year, and they also reintroduced the Will-O-Wisp flashlight and All Hallows Eve medkit. This year's rendition of the Winter Solstice was actually leaked during the 2.4.0 PTB, but overall there weren't that many changes compared to the previous years. There were some new cosmetics for survivors, as well as adding Frosty Eyes for Clown, Spirit, and Legion.
2019 was rather uneventful with only 3 major events. However, the Lunar New Year event did mark the first time we got an additional in-game objective, where 2 lunar vessels would spawn into the trial. If survivors escaped with them, they were rewarded points towards golden coins, and inversely, if vessels were left when a survivor was hooked, they would become corrupted, and a killer could destroy them, earning points towards golden coins. The red envelope this year would add an additional lunar vessel per envelope burned. The coins earned were used to unlock cosmetics. As good as all this sounds, players flooded behavior with negative feedback regarding survivor lobbies and queue times. Third year anniversary was met with mixed reviews. While they did give us a character sale, blood hunt, and a new firecracker, players were understandably upset at the lack of anniversary-themed cosmetics. In 2019, we got the Hollow Blight event for Halloween, and here in 2019, we received the Withering Blight, which was meant to release October 22nd, but this would mark the first time an event was delayed due to errors with the mid-chapter patch. As the Rift was released, how players received cosmetics was also updated to get players actively using the Rift. Progressing the Rift would reward players with Putrid Serum, which would then be used to purchase outfits from the Hallowed Catalyst collection. However, the number of serums were capped, and players were upset when they realized they could only unlock 2 of the 6 full outfits.
While 2019 didn't end off with a winter or Christmas themed event, the new year did bring a Lunar New Year event called Scarlet Swarm. Did we get blood points? No. Did we get in-game challenges? No. But we did get daily login rewards with some nice cosmetics as well as in-game prop changes, and a new firecracker, which is always nice. The 4th year anniversary event saw the addition of a new crown cosmetic earned in-game by interacting with the crown pillar and escaping the match. We also saw the addition of developer quotes, a new lobby screen, and the 4th year cake, which unsurprisingly was bugged for a period of time, but when it worked, it did provide players with a whopping 104% blood points per offering burned. We also received a slew of cosmetics, as well as the 4th year flashlights and medkits. Not too bad. The Eternal Blight event was the Halloween event, and it started the Blighted Outfit collection, and introduced one of the best ones with Ghostface. We also were lucky enough to see some of the first event-related add-ons. Survivors received the Broken Bulb and Refined Serum, granting survivors the ability to move 5% faster for 16 seconds, and killers received a similar add-on, allowing killers to move 200% faster for 3 seconds. If you were around at this time, you remember how terrifying it was to be exposed by Myers and seeing him dash towards you at the speed of light. For a second year in a row, we didn't receive a proper winter event. Instead, behavior gave us the 2020 Advent Calendar, consisting of daily login rewards, and we also received in-game codes for cosmetics.
2021 was the year of the Ox, and with that came the Lunar New Year event Gilded Stampede. As with previous years, we received the Chinese Firecracker, a festive toolbox, UI and prop changes, as well as several new cosmetics. They did go the route of giving us promo codes for cosmetics this year, as well as a sale for the Moonrise and Scarlet Swarm collections. This event also released with a bug where the 3rd year Firecracker appeared in the blood web but was quickly patched out. The 5th year anniversary, we saw the addition of the Shrine of Secrets, where perks were rotated out every 24 hours and were sold for 500 less iridescent shards than normal. The 5th year anniversary cake was a big hit, giving out 105% more blood points per offering burnt. Login rewards and new cosmetics were abundant, as well as the return of the collectible crown. Moving into fall 2021, the Halloween event this year was deemed the Midnight Grove. It was the first event to ever have a unique tome in the archives with new challenges and lore entirely. This year also brought back the Blighted Serum and Refined Serum, but added pumpkins, a new smashable prop giving players either tricks or treats. In addition to cosmetics for the Doctor and the newly added Michaela Reed, we also received special event charms like the Adorable Wraith. Have you ever been playing Dead by Daylight and said to yourself, man, I wish I could walk around the fog dressed up as a snowman? Well, behavior made that possible with the first ever iteration of the Bone Chill event. The game would spawn 6 snowmen into each map where a survivor could jump inside and receive a cosmetic if hit by the killer. Aside from this, Bone Chill wasn't too different from previous winter events seen in Dead by Daylight.
2022 was a huge year for events. Notably, this was the first year we got new mini events with the additions of Double XP and Fragment events. 2022 also saw a whopping 25 total and more than double the amount of events from 2021. To kick things off, we got the Lurking Stripes event, the 5th iteration of the Lunar New Year, and this year they made a small tweak to the red envelope. In previous years, it would give additional blood points and additional blood point score events, but in 2022 they added an in-game envelope which could be opened and read in-game to give additional blood points. Other users could also interact with your invitation or envelope first, awarding them a random amount of blood points and awarding you cosmetics. 2022 further saw the big change to the anniversary event, a themed in-game bull which would become the standard for years to come. But what changes did it bring? Well, for starters, they released 12 themed themed masks, 6 for Killer and 6 for Survivor. There was also an event tome with unique challenges and rewards, as well as a community path in the event tome, which would require global prerequisites to be met before releasing the rewards. There was an entirely new UI and in-game theme released with the Twisted Masquerade, which was very visually similar to what players are currently familiar with. Now we need to talk about Haunted by Daylight, this year's Halloween event. This year came with a massive addition of void energy and rifts, where survivors could repair generators or destroy pumpkins to collect void energy, and killers could destroy pumpkins or hook survivors. Void energy could be transferred by stunning killers or downing survivors. Players could then deposit this energy into the unstable rifts, and anything left over would be transferred into the Sky Rift. These rifts didn't do a whole lot this year, but they did look pretty cool. The winter event was nearly beat for beat the same as 2021, but included new cosmetics and charms.
2023 saw an increase in events again, giving us a total of 36. There was also a small event in April for Behavior's new game, Meet Your Maker. In this event, various colored Gin Map vials would spawn in the trial, each week a new one releasing. Depending on the one you collected, you'd receive a corresponding charm. Behavior also released codes for Meet Your Maker themed t-shirts. It was pretty underwhelming and not advertised particularly well. The Lunar New Year event and Masquerade or Anniversary event would largely remain unchanged to previous years. However, Behavior did bring back the Scorching Barbecue event for the first time since 2018, making its second appearance ever in the game. They brought back the barbecue hooks and margarita generators, as well as the barbecue event offering, but overall this event was mostly cosmetic. The same cannot be said for the 2023 Halloween event, again titled Haunted by Daylight. Do you remember the void energy and the unstable rifts from 2022? Well, this year those rifts could actually be opened and players could enter them. Aside from giving us some funny chase interactions, most notably survivors pretending to hide in the void portal to get killers to enter them, they changed quite a lot in terms of chase mechanics. Specifically, survivors would be permanently exhausted inside the void and suffer from the broken status effect. Killers, on the other hand, would become undetectable but lose the ability to use their powers, including any access to their mini-mories. This event also added in haunts, which could be released while voids were open, creating void energy into haunts as they were approached. Survivors would be granted 10% haste and endurance, as well as increased speeds for blessing, cleansing, healing, and unlocking. Killers would also be granted 10% haste and the undetectable status effect, as well as an increased action speeds for breaking, damaging, and snuffing out totems, as well as a cooldown for missed basic attacks by 20%. There were a ton of cosmetics this year, as well as the return of the skeletal shirts. Bone Chill 2023 came with the addition of snow piles and snow skulls. All the trials spawned in 8 snow piles, which were used to collect snow skulls, which could be thrown at players in the trial or used to destroy snowmen. Snowmen returned this year as well, giving the players the ability to cosplay their favorite winter decoration. The ugly sweaters and deck trial collections returned, as well as new ugly Christmas sweaters for Ellen, Yui, Jane, the good guy, as well as outfits for the nurse and hag. The event also included daily login rewards that added up to 1 million blood points, 3,000 eerie shards, and 30 rift fragments for the included event tome.
So far, 2024 has been packed with events and new game modes, even a couple that fans of the game have been requesting for years. Lights Out opened the year and was the game's first step into modifiers, which are essentially new game modes for the game. Lights Out could be queued for separately too. The mode reduced visibility in trials significantly, similar to Dredge's Nightfall effect. It further removed key tracking elements such as scratch marks, the terror radius, and even many HUD elements. It was a decent first step into modifiers, although most would agree a fairly simple one. It could be debated as the best modifier though, as they did neglect Freddy from it. Probably a result of the Dreamworld texture clashing with the Lights Out one. We also got some cool new cosmetic awards with the event's riff track. Blood Moon came next in March and replaced the Lunar New Year event. Blood Moon was marketed as a blood point heavy event, like a blood hunt but even better. In this event you had to collect blood droplets around the map and place them into blood basins, which would then subsequently create a big blood ring. In this ring you'd gain more BP and you'd also gain an ability. Killers could lunge further, but had a longer post-lunge cooldown, and survivors were quieter and their blood vanished faster. Depositing these also contributed to a wider community challenge to deposit the blood droplets, the reward being an increase in the percentage of BP gains for the duration of the event. This event was not received very favourably at the time, as for a start the offering of the event, the Bloodshot Eye, just didn't work. It got kill switched. Second, the BP gains in general just weren't that great. The community progress toward the broader multiplayer was very slow, and it all came together to be very underwhelming. Luckily, the devs stepped in and made the multiplayer far more achievable, so we were getting a good 5 times the BP each match, which felt about right for what the Blood Moon was meant to be. The final issue was that there was too much red. The red zones you could make could easily mask scratch marks, making it really hard to distinguish between them. Overall, this event was saved by the changes made midway, and also for the cool features like the new Blood Sense map, and awesome event lobby visuals. My Little Oni was a surprise this year, an April Fool's joke that lasted from the 1st to the 3rd. It was a mode that had an enlarged Oni, and a shrunk group of survivors. Oni would need to hunt the survivors down, and then crush them once they were in the dying state. The survivors had to repair a reduced number of generators and run out of the exit gates. Pallets could only be dropped and not vaulted, and windows were impossible to get over being so small. It was a fun yet simple mode which came as a nice surprise to many. It also came with a cool little badge. It didn't last long, but it was always meant as a fun surprise mode. Chaos Shuffle was the 3rd modifier of the year. This modifier removed your option to choose perks and instead forced all players to get a random set from the pool of over 200. Each trial you were given a new set of perks, with sort of a goal to make that build work for you. This mode was simple, but it was also great for that. It took away the crutch of strong perks for many, and challenged everyone to delve into some variety. It was a really popular mode, and as a result was extended by almost 2 weeks more. Simple but incredibly effective. The Anniversary or Masquerade this year took a similar but more developed form to previous years. The main difference was the presence of Trix, the mad designer, and new event host. She would be present in trials and say various voice lines and quips when things happened. Each time 2 generators were completed or hooks were made, an effect would happen from a variety of different wildcards. Some would grant bonuses to things like totems and chests, some would increase everyone's movement speed by 30%, and some would heal all survivors but make them exposed. It was pretty crazy. This event further came with the usual masks, items, and reward shop, as well as the fabled 108% BP offering, the Screech Cobbler. For behavior, this was really a maximum effort event, and one of the best they've ever done, I think. 2v8 has been our most recent addition, and the first event considered officially as a new mode. It made by far the biggest changes to the game that we've ever seen for an event. For one, it expanded the number of survivors and killers in a trial to 2 and 8. We were given bigger variations of existing maps, and instead of perks and add-ons, we instead got varying classes and abilities. The killer roster was reduced to just Trapper, Wraith, Billy, Nurse, and Huntress, each with slight adjustments to their kit that made them more fitting for the mode, such as more hatchets, 3 blinks, and in Billy's case, an alteration to make him more of a support character. Survivors got the choice of 4 classes: Escapist, a chase-based class, Guide, a generator-focused, Objective class, Medic, a healing and support class, and finally Scout, an information-based class. The mode was an undeniable success, a completely different way to play DBD, and probably the magnum opus of events for the game as a whole. Whilst it still needs some work and some definite additions, it's an incredible thing to see. The main downsides of the mode are simply the lack of content for one, but also the incredibly long killer queue times that can sometimes go up to 20 minutes, with the 2v8 event affecting even the main queues also, for 1v4. It's definitely something that needs to be solved before 2v8 returns. Nonetheless, it was incredible, and much like Chaos Shuffle, also received an extension. So there you have it, the entire history of events in DBD. Thanks to Milkdoor for joining me today. Be sure to go check him out with the links below. I do hope you enjoyed. Thanks, and goodbye.